Thursday night, we're live. Dude, 170 shows. 170 every Thursday night. One miss along the way. 170 total.
Pretty impressive, Kevin.
And it gets better all the time. More fun doing all kinds of different shit. But I think our core crew is here to stay. Speaking of, what's up in Orlando? Schwell, how's it going, buddy?
Life is good. Life is good. Are you going to call my name all night again tonight?
That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to call you different things now, though, B.
I'm going
Eric,
by
what's up?
Pootie Tang tonight.
What up, Pootie Tang? What's up, all?
Happy birthday!
Yay!
I'm excited. What is
Everybody-
it? 36? 27?
40. 40?
40.
Whoa,
Wow.
it's a big one,
40.
too.
Shit.
Enjoying my life.
Casey's in the house checking in. What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Just happy I don't live in Mass today.
We got
Sorry.
two
Sorry, Eric.
to talk about. Yeah, Casey's birthday is mired with the date of it all going down in Massachusetts, which is our lead story tonight. Ross, you and I had a chance to talk about 2 seconds. We've been talking about in the pre-chat for a while. We watched the press conference. We picked a couple spots that we think are important enough to share again. Good to see you as well, Ross.
Great to see you, Kevin. Glad to be here. If the pre-show was any indication, tonight is going to be a great show.
It should be. We want to do a quick shout out to our sponsors and the people that have been on board since day one. Again, thanks to all the companies that have helped us get to where we are. But right now, it's Green Force Tactical, Key Bar. We want to start talking on a regular about HPR Black Ops, HPR ammo in general. I got some in the mail. I'm going to start to integrate it into the system. I'm learning more about it. I did a little thing this morning. Make sure you check out hprammo.com. A couple guys on the panel already carry it, and the rest of us are going to start integrating it into some testing videos. I know, Casey, yeah, you've been down with HPR for a while, correct?
Yeah, since the NRA in Nashville. So
Oh.
I've used their 9mm stuff, and I'm impressed. Is that their Black Ops is their hollow point, right?
yeah, I'm using the Black Ops 9mm, and it's somewhere between 80 and 90 grain projectile hollow point. And I've done some shooting on some, like a pork shoulder, watermelon. It's pretty impressive. And I picked up some 5.56, 223, Black Ops. I don't know why. It's kind of ridiculous, but I got it. I haven't tested it out yet.
It's like the only thing I said this morning was, when it comes to carry stuff, I want to make sure that I can have consistency taken care of, and I don't have to question it ever. And I know that they hand it out. So.
Yeah, I was telling a buddy about that the other day. Like, I'll buy 2 boxes of whatever the thing is, run a box, make sure it cycles, make sure everything's good. In that second box, hopefully I never have to shoot the second box, because that would be going in people, So,
Right.
So, yep.
Well, man. And a lot of people say make sure you shoot your carry ammo. But let's get started and get right to it. The Massachusetts story of the week, from the Massachusetts Attorney General YouTube page. The video we're referring to, I don't want to give it too much credit. Enforcement of state ban on copycat assault weapons. Eric, you've read probably more headlines and into it. Do you want to give us a little paragraph or a paraphrase what this thing is and what's going on right now in Massachusetts?
So on July 19th, our Attorney General Healy, sent out it's called a enforcement notice. And basically what this is a letter clarifying the assault weapon ban that the state has in place since 1998, which mimicked the federal assault weapon ban that sunsetted back in 2004. What she is claiming is that the mass compliant style AR-15, which doesn't have a flash hider, no bayonet lug, fixed stock, no grenade launcher, because those are cool, is still technically an assault weapon and falls under that ban. What's really interesting here is what they said was any copycat or duplicate weapon is still illegal because how the weapon fires. If it fires the same way as a quote-unquote assault weapon, it's still an assault weapon.
Okay, so the list includes their interpretation of assault weapon, and they put together a quick list. It's AR-15, Colt style AR-15, AK, this, that. I mean, it's everything, correct?
It's ARs, it's AKs, it's AUGs, which means probably Tavors as well. You can even interpret it to be magazine-fed shotguns, stripped lower receivers. So as of last night at midnight, you can no longer sell those if you're a gun store owner. If you possess them, you were grandfathered in. The language is really vague and very high level, so there's no way to talk. I don't know about private sales. So if you're listening and you're in this state, I would hold off of even doing private sales at this time. But what that also means as a manufacturer is bolt carrier groups technically fall under that. Barrels, upper receivers, stripped lowers, all of that technically becomes part of an assault weapon because it can be fitted onto an assault weapon. I mean, they went after everything. It's absolutely insane. You could even argue airsoft weapons are part of it because it's a replica or a copy.
Air guns, pellet guns.
All of that.
It's like even again the stuff that you would see at a sporting goods store.
Exactly, from your Smith & Wesson to your 22. So that Smith & Wesson 15-22 that people buy and they're like, it's a great plinker, that's out the window as well.
Talk about that whole thing. Smith & Wesson is in your state, correct?
Yes, they're up in Central Mass, Springfield area. They technically can't sell in-state anymore.
They can't sell in-state, but they can ship across state lines. That's okay.
Yes. So it's just for Massachusetts residents. So Massachusetts
about that.
So let's break this down just a little bit. So Smith & Wesson 1020 M&P 1022 was never designed to be a weapon of war, which is what the AG from her own mouth said that she's basically doing, is banning weapons that were originally designated for war, which technically we all know is automatic weapons, but to the 1022 level, what are they banning at that point?
At that point, yeah.
Let's listen to what this is the first clip I wanted to share.
The kind of weapon used this past weekend to brutally target and kill 3 Baton Rouge police officers. In the wake of Orlando, where the killer took the lives of 49 innocent people with an AR-15 style assault weapon, we took a look at our own state assault weapons ban and at gun sales here in the state. Based on that review, we are taking this action today. Massachusetts law prohibits the sale and possession of assault weapons such as the Colt AR-15 and the AK-47. It also expressly prohibits copies and duplicates of those weapons. These deadly assault weapons were originally designed for military use. They are meant to kill people in a very short amount of time, as many people as possible. They do not belong in civilian hands.
So that's the first part, and again, for the entire speech, we don't want to act like we're editing it to leave out anything. We'll go to another spot on there in a little bit and share one of the other speakers. But that's what they're saying. That's what they're breaking down.
I think it's important to note that all weapons are made and designed to kill. That's what they do. That's their sole purpose. So go ahead, Eric.
No, go ahead. So
to focus on that point is irrelevant. Secondly, we go back to weapons of war. These are at best semi-automatic replicas of weapons of war. They are not. They were not meant to be used in the battlefield in their current state.
People don't see it that way, Ross. They say that you can pull the trigger fast and it can kill 49 people in a club. Which, let's talk about that statement.
Let's talk about Orlando for a second.
That proven? Has that medical report come out that an AR style weapon killed all those people?
No.
Big guy.
Nothing.
The answer to that?
That information is not released to the public yet, and there's a reason for it, because it does not fit their agenda. But that information is not released. Those bodies are already in the ground. They've already started moving on. And that information hasn't been released, and there's a reason. So,
But she can say that, and again, people in Massachusetts, this is what your attorney general is putting out in the public.
It's because people that are anti-firearms, they see a picture of an AR. It can be a 22 that's all black. It's all scary. You know, in their minds, it matches what's on the battlefield. There's no conception of it's different than what our military uses. To them, it looks the same, so therefore it is the same. I was talking with a gun store owner here today, and 80% of his business is semi-automatic rifles. 80%. What this clarification does is it's going to put people out of business.
Still carry permit in your state?
Yeah, an LTC Class A.
Because I think down here it's more like probably 50 to 80% is the top 5 concealed carry guns. I believe that's where the majority of the guns are sold here.
This one guy does he's predominantly rifle, semi-automatic rifles, where a lot of people, if they're buying pistols, it's going to be the Smith & Wesson Shield or the Smith & Wesson, the M&P line.
So they have specifically targeted the AR-15 and the AK-47. What is the dealer's idea of all semi-automatic weapons? They all
are
use
banned.
the same firing method, if you will.
All are banned. As of today, you can't buy a semi-automatic rifle in this state.
So they've always, but now they're going to enforce it. Let's make sure that that's what we're saying, because that's what happened, right?
So what they're saying is the assault weapon ban that the state passed in 1998 intended to outlaw all semi-automatic, magazine-fed rifles.
18 years ago.
18 years ago. And what they're saying is with this clarification letter, it enforces that law. So she didn't make new law. She's interpreting the existing law.
Interpretation, I think, is a big key to that. Would you agree?
Yes.
There's 18 sales that have accumulated at people's garages and gun safes and throughout the state. 18 years worth?
Yeah. I mean, those are all grandfathered. And I personally own one lower with 3 uppers. So technically, I have
nothing. Quiet. Dude, nothing.
I can't buy anything new. I'm good. I wanted it to avoid.
Let's also talk about, don't they know what every owner of a serialized rifle in...
Yes.
Sorry if I'm cutting.
Yes. When you purchase a lower receiver in the state, their serial number is registered with the state firearms lab, I believe. So they have a list of that as well. So technically, police today could pull you up and find a list of that. That's available today.
How likely do you think a confiscation order is?
In the short term, not likely. But if you want to like go out to the nth degree, that was what would be next. Because you have, I mean, they estimated last month 10,000 semi-automatic rifles were sold in the state. So that means you probably have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of those rifles in the state. I don't think you'd ever get to that because I don't know how they would ever do that. But it's
people think I don't think it's a door to door. That was one of my big questions about this. I think they'll take every opportunity to collect them along the way, because think about it. So every time they have a bust, you guys can't hear me?
Now you're coming in.
I'm seeing a good level on my end. Sorry. I see that as they then take every opportunity that they have to utilize the fact that now those guns can be confiscated. So every drug bust, every time they go into someone's home and for whatever reason and come across one of those weapons, it gets taken. And then the next part would be the transfer of the weapon when the owner of the weapon passes on. Once you Because again, think about it. They know that what everyone has. As soon as you pass away, they cross-reference that. Now, you tell me my sound's bad. Readjust. Go ahead, you guys talk about it. Sorry. I'll see if I can regroup.
Well, I got all kinds of questions for you about that, Eric, because I was thinking that right now you guys have background checks, right? You can't just transfer a weapon from person to person. You have to background check your brother if you're going to sell a weapon to him. Is that correct?
You can do a private sale online. You can go through, the state has an electronic form you can fill out, and that puts in, so when you get your LTC license, there's also a PIN number you get as well. So when you do that transfer, you put that PIN in as well, and if it all checks out, you can go ahead with the transfer. You can also go to your local police department and do it too.
Eric, do you know much about the hunting laws in Massachusetts?
Like in what way, Schwell?
The caliber limitations for hunting, let's say deer.
Yeah, I think
it's 223. Is something that small authorized for use in the state of Massachusetts?
It's a good question. That I don't know.
Because that's another way that they can attack this. And I don't want to give any ideas, but we're talking about future bans or future confiscations. What if they ban the ammunition for those assault rifles, as they like to put it? Let's say that they say anything under a 308 is no longer, in a rifle caliber, is no longer authorized in the state because it can't be used for hunting. There are many different ways they can take the ability to use those rifles from you guys. So I would.
And that was my thought too. Was they'd go after the caliber of the ammunition, because if you're going to stop selling components, what's the argument to say, well, the magazine is a component, the ammunition is now a component of the magazine. It also, if you think about it this way too, by them just going after this one platform, you can tell the hunters, hey, you're good to go. Go hunt in the woods. Go have a good time. Go shoot 3 times a year and come back with a deer. You're also trying to divide the firearms community into those that like to go to the range or train or do 3-gun, and those that like to go into the woods and hunt.
Yeah, that goes back to the training thing. I think I fixed the mic. I apologize to everybody. I think I had something funky going on there. I think I fixed it. Am I better? Mic check?
Oh, yeah, much better.
Sorry about that. I was saying I think the state would then take every opportunity to then collect guns that they have on these lists however they could. The biggest one would be with the death of an owner. They have the list. They know who has what. As soon as that owner dies, there's no way to hand it down then. It now becomes something that becomes illegal because you can't transfer it within the state.
It's got a huge chilling effect. What company is going to want to sell parts in the state? No one.
You can't. It sounds to me like it's illegal.
It sounds like it's always been, and they're just interpreting in this way. And here's the funny part too. Our state legislature is out for summer recess for like 7 weeks.
So Eric, is this felt in your community, in the gun community, as an overreach by your AG?
Oh, most definitely. Everyone's in shock. Everyone's angry. It feels like it's a huge overreach. I know people yesterday that were buying lowers like they were going out of style. I'm sure people that were looking to buy an AR or semi-automatic rifle last night, they ran around trying to get a deal, and I bet you there were some shops that were jacking up prices yesterday. Yesterday was a tough day if you were a prospective buyer or if you were a gun store owner.
Shocking. I mean, it really is shocking. And then we talked in the pre-show about GOAL, Gun Owners Action League up there. They are the front lines of this fight for you guys. What is their position? What are they doing for you guys? What do you foresee them doing? I know you're a member, Eric.
I am a member. If you're in the state of Massachusetts, it's definitely the organization to join. They are 100% member funded. It's our grassroots effort on combating all types of gun laws in towns and states, and they keep everyone very active. When things come up, they're having a rally this weekend. It's Saturday, July 23rd at 10 a.m. at the steps of the state house. That's where they're starting. They've got their legal team reviewing this letter and kind of identifying the next steps. It's so new. and very vague in its terminology that a lot of people are taking the time. I know the NRA is probably doing the same thing. The NRA IRL issued a statement today as well, more or less saying the same thing. There's going to be a rally. I saw it on Facebook this Friday at 5 o'clock at the state capitol. I wish those people well. Good luck. I hope some state reps are still in town. They see it, and so forth. But
you saw in the pre-chat tonight how crazy some of the rhetoric is. Let's share some of that if it's appropriate time, I think, because some of the stuff that comes out of this guy's mouth is, whew, we've heard a lot. This is unbelievable. Let's check it out.
Thank you very much, Attorney General Healy. Study after study has shown that gun laws work. And here in Massachusetts, where firearm fatalities are among the lowest in the nation, our gun laws save lives. Those laws prohibit a class of weapons that were once reserved for military use, and for good reason. They facilitate the taking of innocent lives on an unconscionable scale, as the number and frequency of mass shootings proves over and over again. We in Boston know that even one homicide is one too many. But cities like ours, which annually see mid-double-digit homicide rates, most often committed with illegal handguns, could easily see triple-digit homicide rates if high-capacity assault weapons are allowed to continue to proliferate unchecked.
Whew, Ross?
Please, God, don't get me started.
He says handguns are the reason that we have...
Handguns are a majority of the crimes committed, but we're going to take your rifles from you because it could happen. This guy's just all about just lies and misconceptions. From his very first statement to the very last, it's all misconception. It's all proliferation of something that isn't true in the first place.
There's no facts to back that up to say that.
Starts with study after study, Casey. Like, how easy is that?
The studies contradict what they're doing. The studies don't back up what they're doing. That's the first thing he says is we have some of the lowest gun crime rates in the country, and then you say we need to do this, and do this. To what end? What is the goal here, other than disarming?
It's to disarm the populace.
Yeah, it's law-abiding citizens are being impacted by it. Now the only people with any kind of real weaponry to defend themselves are law enforcement and those who break the law.
I want to know why we can't hold these people accountable for their words. The words that they say that are not true. If people are going to be uneducated on a subject, they should not be making laws in regards to those subjects. And this is really disturbing because this is a trend now that this misinformation can get out there and nobody's held accountable.
The accountability should be at the polls, Ross.
Right.
People should be voting and making sure that these people are held accountable for it. You can't. I mean, there are these amendments, these things in the Constitution that prevent the government from going after people who say certain things, but the people can vote and get rid of these folks and make a difference there. The problem is they do it now, and when it's time to actually vote, people forget about it or they're not paying attention. I mean, let's hope that the people in mass don't roll over and just let this happen.
Or they do it during the. Oh, where did Schwell go?
He mic dropped us.
He did mic drop us. Or they do it during the Republican National Convention while their Congress is on a 7-week vacation or whatever, right, Eric? I mean, what better time to unload some tyranny, right?
Well, they're out of session, so you can't even argue it that way. The RNC convention's going on, so news cycle-wise, it's a great way to kind of shove it in there. It's what I heard this the other day, and it's a really great way to say it. Political action goes beyond just typing on Facebook or 140 characters on Twitter. You got to go to the polls and vote. It's just not going to the rallies and rah-rah online. You got to show it with your vote. So if Attorney General Healy, if you don't like what she's doing, she comes up for election. You vote her out. You remember these things because these affect you on a day-to-day basis.
Is the AG an appointed position or is it a voted-in position?
It's elected.
Elected, okay. Well, I hope
Well,
the
you
people of Massachusetts. I hope the people of Massachusetts take it upon themselves to do just that. I hope they don't forget. My fear is that we have a whole bunch of uninformed people that listen to a conference like this, and they walk away with these weapons. These weapons are the same weapons that we use in war, and that they are designed for mass killing, which is true in a sense, but not in a sense. My other big issue with this is, who are you stopping? You're stopping law-abiding citizens. Criminals are not going to say, damn it, I can't use that weapon now. Shucks.
And here's the thing, in Boston, in the metro area, it's a very anti-Second Amendment. But the more you get out, we're in Central Mass, you go to Western Massachusetts, it's a completely different mentality out here. Firearms are much more accepted. People have multiple firearms. You go out to Western Mass where you start, out in more farm country, having a rifle, an AR, a shotgun, pistols, it's common. So those are the people that are going to remember this. People in Boston, people in Cambridge, they're excited about this. To them, this makes them, quote unquote, feel safer at night, and it's bullshit. It's total crap, and the people in the rest of the state will remember this.
I want to say one quick thing, if I may. We've been talking about the people. Quote, we put gun manufacturers and gun dealers on notice that we're cracking down on the sale of illegal assault weapons, she said. They're going after the laws that are in place already and enforcing it upon the manufacturers and the dealers. The users, the buyers, the citizens, it's kind of like the end result, get no more. But what they're not saying, they're not telling you, you no longer have a right to go buy it. They're saying to the manufacturers, no more selling them there because that's the law.
And
it's an important difference.
It is, Kevin. And they're waiting for the one dealer to sell something or the one manufacturer to ship something in, and they're gonna slam that person. And it's gonna create a chilling effect. They're gonna make an example out of one entity, and then everyone else is gonna go running away. They more or less closed the doors in this state to purchasing a firearm from a gun dealer. And from a small business aspect, how many of these guys are going to go out of business? How much business can you survive on bolt-action guns, pistols, and ammunition?
How long before they go after the ammunition? I know we talked about that briefly earlier, but what's your thought on that? Is that the next step?
California's already put stuff out there for it.
Well, let's wait. I think what's going to happen is they're setting up what's going to happen after the election. They're going to have federal backup, and that's what they're lining themselves up, and they're preparing themselves for that kind of action. If Hillary gets into office, they'll have somebody in the big house backing up these decisions and backing up these new laws and these gun grabs. So, you can't. I'm gonna keep saying this for the rest of the night. You cannot take this lightly. Do not let this go without putting up a fight.
Well,
And, I know I'm talking to the mass folks, but all of us have to pay attention. All of us have to be involved in this because I've seen it in the past in California when De Leon was putting out bills and trying to pass laws that changed things for like airsoft guns and replicas, that people all over the country made their voices heard and had an impact initially. We let off the gas pedal and they were able to slip some shit in California, and now look at where they are right now. So we all need to be involved.
Go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you took my thought exactly. I don't think this thing has legs long term. That's not to say it shouldn't be fought, particularly depending on the election, like you said. But watch, the sad and scary thing is, this could be the guinea pig for gun reform for multiple states to adopt and use this as example. That's kind of just my thought on it.
But I think
Casey. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Russ. I think, Casey, though, if people assume it's going to get, go to court and they're going to lose on it and people are going to let off the gas again, this isn't just a Massachusetts issue. This is a gun owners, a Second Amendment issue across the entire nation.
That's what I'm
Look
saying.
look at California, look at Colorado, Maryland. I mean,
New Jersey.
New Jersey, New York. I mean, all these states watch what everyone else is doing. They see how long
That's
it
what I'm
lasts.
saying. That's why I said, I don't think this has legs long term, just depending on election results. But what I'm saying is, if this holds true, then it only takes one or two, states to do this, but and then all of a sudden with the right political climate, all the 48 others behind it follow suit. Or
I think this is a good segue to transfer into something else, Casey. I think it's well put what you said, unless anyone else got some final thoughts.
I got one final thought for you, and this goes out to everybody. This is a countrywide issue. It's happening in Massachusetts, but it's our Second Amendment. It's not their Second Amendment and Colorado's Second Amendment and Delaware's Second Amendment. It is about the Second Amendment, and this is our country. We cannot separate Massachusetts from anybody else. Tyranny in Massachusetts will eventually be tyranny in Colorado, which honestly I see next. And then, tyranny and as long as it's allowed to happen. I think everybody needs to get involved.
Tyranny?
And it's time. Tyranny.
Tyranny.
Tyranny. Thank you.
Stop being a jerk and let him continue and get his thoughts out. Go ahead, Ross. You continue. You get amped up, Ross, and you tell him how red-blooded Americans feel about this situation. Kevin,
he's
shut
tired.
the fuck up.
He's
Shut the hell up,
tired.
Kevin.
He's tired of tyranny, which is tyranny.
Everybody's issue. Everybody should be involved in this. This is a big-time overreach and a squash of the Second Amendment, which our forefathers would be turning over in their grave right now. This is ridiculous.
I agree, 100%. Eric, you get to trump anybody because it's your birthday, for the record. So anytime you want to speak, make sure that you say something, even over talk the big guy in there.
Nah,
So-
no, but thank you.
When we started this show, Ross, it was us talking about our experience with guns, our new experiences with guns, our experiences carrying, doing different things, going to different places. I just had one of those experiences again, and I've done this before. We've had this conversation before. I did videos about this before. But it happened again, and it just kind of relates to what's going on in Massachusetts and what I am allowed to do here in Florida versus what I was allowed to do over the weekend picking up my daughter from upstate New York. Flying into Newark, driving up to upstate, spending a night in the mountains, and then going into the city. So I just wanted to kind of tell you guys a little bit about that and a little bit about some of the feelings. I know that we've covered this, but again, it's just one of those things that it definitely, you give up I felt like I was giving up my rights. And so you get off the plane, you're going to a pretty safe place, it's out in the middle of the sticks, shit's probably not going to happen, so you feel pretty comfortable. Get up and drive into the city to go literally into Times Square to go to a play on Broadway, go into that tunnel. Well, shit, if you were a terrorist, what would you hit? Especially when that tunnel gets tight. It's a target. It's a target-rich city. I just couldn't help thinking to myself over and over again, these places it's just so target-rich if you were a bad guy.
How many NYPD did you see in New York?
Now, okay, so you get into the city, and it was crazy, and this was on Sunday. So it was a Sunday morning, Sunday midday. Our show was at 3. So we got there in enough time to walk around for a little bit prior, and it was packed. And there's people everywhere, and Times Square is as nuts as it is in the day, is probably not as nuts, but it's as crowded as I've ever seen it. Broadway as crowded as I've ever seen it. At one point, the masses was so tight moving in two directions that we were at a standstill at one point. It was crazy. There were cops on every corner, every mid-block. They were everywhere. They were everywhere. Now, we talk about cops good, bad, and ugly. Here's my observation of the cops in New York, this great police force that everyone talks about. My observation was that you have half of them who are obviously veterans. Their uniforms fit a little bit better. They present themselves better. They are more confident. Everyone was very friendly, and there was a lot. I did notice several times people thanking the cops going up to them and thanking them, being friendly to them, obviously taking the effort to say to them during this time in America, thank you for what you do. I watched it many times. The other half of this group, I watched these guys, and I literally, my thought process was, that guy couldn't catch me. Like, in just a chase, he would gas out for sure. That uniform doesn't fit that guy well. You could just tell there was a lot of younger cops, inexperienced. So then Ross and I had this conversation on the phone briefly when I was talking to him, and his thought was how
Good
well do
guy.
they shoot?
Yeah, right. I bet you they shoot like crap too.
So, yes, there was a huge police force, a huge police presence. Would it have saved the day? Again, we all know they're responding. They're not preventing anything. If someone has bad intentions, they're going to do what they want to do. So I did not feel safe. I did not feel like when we were, in a restaurant having dinner and I'm there with my entire family, again, should shit go down. Now, was I my head on a swivel? Was I looking in on, yeah, I was pretty darn aware of what was going on, but I had also gotten mentally prepared and said to myself, you know what? This is part of life. We're going to go have a great experience seeing this play. I need to enjoy my family. I need to enjoy my time while it's here. If God forbids in the 6 hours that I'm in this city some shit goes down, then, that's my time. So I had mentally said to myself, I'm not going to go crazy going into the city.
So what New York has done since 9/11, they're big on see something, say something. It's a huge campaign. You see it on the streets, you see it in the subways, the buses. But what you don't see, besides all the uniformed officers, they've really increased their plainclothes, their surveillance. There's some articles I've read that estimate they have a larger surveillance force than the CIA does. So they will actually, and they don't publicize what they foil because they don't want people to know what they're doing. But there are cases where the NYPD has more intel than the FBI or the CIA does on jihadi plots. So
Yep.
You were probably safer than you felt, Kevin.
Like I said, I had gotten there mentally, Eric, because I didn't want to enjoy my family. I didn't want to have a great time, and we did. We had a fantastic time. So again, success. However, we're talking about this now. Man, I wouldn't want to live there. I would not want to have to be. That's what it felt like. I was in a security zone. You know what I'm saying? With all of that and this big signs, you are now under surveillance, NYPD shield, blah blah blah. Like you felt like it was the future.
Part of it too is you were in Times Square. You were in a heavily tourist area. If you go downtown and you go to the Village where I grew up and you go to those other areas, you don't see that presence as much or as heavy. So there are certain areas of the city that they've deemed kind of more attractive than others. So you'll see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell. Well, Schwell, any thoughts since you live there? I think he's muted. Yeah.
Can't hear you,
got
Schwell.
Sound from you, buddy. Oh, I hope he doesn't leave us forever.
Damn.
If he does.
Again. Boom.
Mic drop
But
again.
really, double mic drop night. So anyway, to just kind of wrap that up, the other part about my trip, if you don't follow on Facebook or Instagram, we've had some run-ins with the TSA in the past, some fun stuff. And again, you noticed a lot of guys that travel quite a bit that are in the industry. You'll notice that every once in a while something happens. And what happened to me this time was interesting because nothing happened, and I got to the resort, and I was going through one of my inner packs that has a large battery pack in it, and I was looking for a certain cord, and I turned it upside down. And I mean, I checked everything, and Q made fun of me, and Swell made fun of me, but I do check all my bags before I go. I look in the bottom of my boots to make sure there's no shell casings and all that crazy stuff that could happen. I definitely check everything. And I missed this one because I turned that bag upside down in the hotel, and out popped a backup magazine for the LCP. That's just a random backup magazine that was in this, and that went through the X-ray machines while I went through.
90%, Kevin. 90% gets through.
Got my pat down.
Don't we have a video?
There is a video. There is a video. If you want to cue it up to share it. I'd be happy to share it.
I can't find it. Somebody deleted it from the Gun News Weekly page. You're a jerk,
So-
Kevin. I know it was you.
Did not. That's falsehood.
So what's funny is, Kevin, you got through with that. They wanted to confiscate my first aid kit on my flight this weekend.
They wanted to confiscate it.
Yeah.
Do you have
he was-
anything sharp in it or anything with a point or a blade?
Nope. It's my Dark Angel pocket dart. He pulled it out. He was all confused about it. Thought it looked suspicious. I'm like, it's a first aid kit and a tourniquet.
Eric, I couldn't even get an empty magazine on a plane, and Kevin gets a loaded magazine on a plane.
Right. It's funny. Oh, here's the
TSA.
video. Okay. Here we go. We'll share the video since everybody seems to want to check that out. Yeah, check out Gun News Weekly. We do have a great Facebook page. Ah, look at that. You guys are reaching some decent numbers now. 1,600 on this one? I didn't realize. 1,600 people knew about my plight. It's probably 200 people and 1,400 TSA agents sharing that shit with each other. So next time I go in there, I'm going to get anally probed. Here it is.
Sir, we need you to step to the right as the glove goes on.
Yo, what's up? Just want to let you know, TSA. You guys are awesome. Did it again. I just got done going through one of my bags, getting ready to just kind of get some stuff together, and I realized that
Hey guys, Tac Daddy here. Not really. I'm smarter than he is. Before I travel, something I like to do is take whatever bag I'm going to take on the airplane, and I open up all the zippers, because I'm a pack rat, I like to carry a lot of shit. So what I do is I open up all the zippers on everything, and I shake that real good. Make sure they're
who's the jerk?
Have a great day.
That is a PSA brought to you from Good News Weekly, resetting the show just about quarter till the top of the hour. Thanks again to all of our sponsors. Please check them out. Check out gunnewsweekly.com and check out thegearlocker.net. And don't watch anything that Schwell does other than that vlog. That's pretty entertaining.
Hey, you stop it. All right? Don't hate. Appreciate.
I like your vlog, Schwell.
I like the vlog.
Thank you.
Told you I'm gonna.
Thank you. It's a vlog, dummy.
It's a vlog, dummy.
Yeah, right. A
That's why I
vlog.
called it that. 'Cause
I
Kevin,
got that on the first video.
right,
Vlog
Kevin corrected me, and then my kids clowned the hell out of me. But you know what? I found another guy on YouTube that calls it a vlog too, so I'm not alone. Shout out to my
It was funny.
Flossie Carter.
He kept calling it a vlog, a vlog. I'm like, it's a video log, a vlog, like a blog. He goes, oh, I'm a dummy. And so that's why it's called. It's a vlog, dummy. Real quick story backing up to New York. I don't know if you guys heard this one, but I did want to share it with you. Historic New York gun show, homeless after the push from the anti-gun group. The Saratoga Springs Arm Fair, which has put on over 100 shows in the past 3 decades, is looking for a new venue after the city center refused to book new shows. And basically saying that in 2013, Gabby Giffords, along with New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, visited the show and held a example of compliance with the state's new SAFE Act gun laws. And the fair is telling people that there are no dates available. So it sounds like there's been some push, some pressure, some deals, whatever it may be. And now they're looking for a new place. And I didn't even realize there was a gun show in New York.
Yeah.
Now, when I was in the mountains, there was a small gun store in the mountain town in Hancock, and a guy had a bunch of guns.
Remember, Kevin, guns aren't illegal in New York. They just make it really hard to get them. You can go to a gun show, but you might not leave with anything. And you're definitely not leaving with a pistol if you go to a gun show. You're not just going to go in there and buy a pistol. New York, the gun laws in New York are embarrassing as a New Yorker. They're very embarrassing when you think about it. I have friends who have very legitimate jobs who have no criminal history but cannot get a permit to purchase a pistol. Not carry, but to purchase. They can't even purchase a pistol to keep in their homes. They can go to the range and rent them, but they will not. After spending hundreds of dollars, they get denied for some reason. They make up something. So,
What's the reason?
It's New York. They can do it. It's run by Democrats. They can get away with it. But I did see something the other night, just real quick, just a detour a little bit. I saw a guy at the Republican National Convention make a speech, and I think we saw our next governor or mayor of New York. He may be the next mayor of New York City or the governor of New York, and he is the son of a potential president.
Are we going political? You said, what is that gun related? See, I should put you in a penalty box right now, but you are talking about Junior, I hope.
Yeah, Junior is exactly who I'm talking about. But
He knocked it out of the park, and I know that the daughter's going to do the same tonight, and our numbers are dropping. I bet you that they're going on right now because people want to see that. But we'll check it out afterwards in the after show with us just talking about it. But let's finish up the gun stuff for the week. We got about 13 minutes left. I want to talk about guns, but I also want to talk about this other story. Gavin Long is the shooter from the Baton Rouge police shooting over the weekend. And again, I got this all sketchy. We were in hotels and things, and so I got it very piecemeal. So guys, help me out here. But it's now being claimed by CNN, a source that's telling CNN that he is suffering from PTSD and had medication to treat such PTSD. There's just a really quick clip we'll share, and then we'll talk about it.
YouTube. No words. He can't understand words, I promise you. He doesn't understand protest. If y'all want to keep protesting, do that. But for the serious ones, the real ones, the alpha ones, we know what it's going to take. It's only fighting back or money. That's all they care about. Revenue and blood. Revenue and blood.
And that was posted on his YouTube channel.
I thought, what
sorry
can
about
I
that.
do now?
I apologize. And the issue there is, though, what was his MOS and what did he do, Eric?
A data analyst was what I heard.
He was a data analyst in the Marines.
Correct.
So what does that mean?
Different. For the Marines, it's different. It's not like I was in the Air Force. When you say Sergeant Robinson was an air traffic controller, that's what I did. I was an air traffic controller. I wasn't infantry. I wasn't anything extra. I did air traffic. In the Marines, I don't think it's one of those things where they say your data systems or whatever, and then you sit at a desk every day, all day. I think they still do training. I think he still does deployments where he's a part of a a convoy and all of that stuff. So he may very well have PTSD. He did deploy back in, I think, 2005. He got out in 2010. This young man, this was a young man. You know, he wasn't very old, and I don't take the PTSD thing lightly, but I don't want people to use that as an excuse like they have in some other things. This was a terrible crime. It sounds like it was planned out. It sounds like he had motives. I mean, think about it. He arrives in Dallas the day after the guy does the shooting in Dallas, and then days later he does the shooting in Louisiana. I don't think it's a coincidence.
And it's not, Schwell. I actually took some time to watch his videos, the stuff that he has lately done on YouTube, and you know, he died for his cause. He had a cause. He had a method to meet that cause, and that's what he did. Horrendous crime, but it was what he believed in. I mean, he fought for his brothers, what he called his people. He fought for his people, and he knew that at some level, violence is the final answer in some cases. I mean, that's what his videos project anyway.
And
we're not advocating killing cops.
Yeah, I watched quite a few of his videos because when they first identified him as the shooter, there were two different pictures used. And one picture was him, and the other picture was another random black guy that comes up when you search black guy on Google. But I watched his videos, and at first he just didn't come across as a person that would do this kind of stuff. But then you add the PTSD thing and the medications that he's on, anything is possible at that point in medicine. And once you start adding the government to the equation, who knows if this, you know, I hate to be the tinfoil hat guy, but who knows if this isn't part of an agenda? Who knows if this isn't to keep things going the way that they have been going as of late? It's ugly, and we are falling for the division. Every day something else happens, just like the shooting in Miami yesterday.
And quite frankly, Schwell, you never know what's going to drive a guy to his bitter end. You know what I mean? In some cases, it's suicide. In some cases, it's mass murder. In some cases, it's economic. In other cases, it's social. This guy was driven to his bitter end by something. Of course, we don't condone shooting the cops, and I'm a huge supporter of honest police work. But it's a tough one, man. It's a very tough one. He's a very outspoken young man, and I would encourage anybody to go take a look at what his message is, because for the most part, I thought his message was good. I teach people how to promote themselves and be more about growth and not about being stagnant. I thought his overall messages in those videos were not horrible messages. What he did was horrible, but his messages were not horrible messages.
I didn't hear it once that he was a dumb guy. I didn't hear that.
No, very intelligent, very well spoken, as I always hear about myself. You're so articulate for a black guy. And I never heard him directly say, let's go out here and kill these cops. Let's go out here and kill white people. Let's go out here and kill. He alluded to it in that video clip where he said there's two ways to do it, with violence and with money. And I get that. And, a lot of people feel that that is the only way to make a change in this nation. I just didn't, I had to watch quite a few of the videos, and then, like I said, the adding of the medication and the PTSD was an aha moment for me. There it is, because everything else was very positive and uplifting, and be a better you, and be more of a contribute to society and be positive. And this is it just came out of nowhere with this guy.
It's a sad state of affairs that this is where our veterans are going, because he was a veteran as well, and we'll talk about that. And for the good amount of people that are still watching by, stay tuned. Coming up in about 7 minutes at the end of the show, I'm going to preview a video that I think is a pretty powerful one that we're going to be releasing this week to help support the effort for the CAS-22 rifle by Lanzang Tactical. So stay tuned. That's coming up in just a bit.
Happy birthday.
Any other thoughts on this guy? Go ahead. Say again.
I was just slipping in a happy birthday to Eric.
Oh,
He's not smiling enough. He's not.
We're all going to sing to him at the end of this, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
We got special guests coming up. All right, so the other thing that we didn't talk about in the pre-show, but again, because of all the distractions and all the division that's going on out there, I want to oh wow,
that's
this is gonna
crazy.
We'll talk about what's going on the internal in just a second. But the stuff that's going on with the fight, the bigger fight, that's the worldwide fight, the bad guys that would kill all of us if they could. New details and motive revealed about the France truck attack, and it's what many feared. This guy had been planning this. There are co-conspirators. There is more details. We talked about this story in depth. Anyone that didn't watch it, just search France truck attack on last week's Gun News Weekly, and you can check that one out. The one that's a little more twisted that reports are coming in on, and this is one of those things where you're hearing this and you're saying to yourself, have they really corroborated this? But the France terrorist attack prior, remember the one at the rock concert, I believe is where it was, where there was all kinds of different things going on. According to this testimony that came out about the November attacks, I'm sorry, the attack took place on March 21st. They just had the testimony on March 21st. According to the testimony, the killers reportedly gouged out eyes, castrated victims, shoved their testicles in their mouths. They may have also disemboweled some poor souls. Women were reportedly stabbed in the genitals, and the torture was, victims told police, filmed for Daesh or Islamic State propaganda. For that reason, medics did not release the bodies of the torture victims to the families, investigators have now said. Just reporting. These are sick fucks. Things haven't changed. These are bad, bad people.
We need to do something about this. Our government needs to take care of this problem. That's what their position is. That's what their job is. Take care of this.
All right. Let's do it. Let's do it, Casey. We want to. Let's do it. We're gonna each spend 15, 20 seconds giving our reaction to this other story that came up last night. I know some people don't like to comment if they don't have a ton of information, but I did watch the news report. I know you did too. And according to what the shooting victim is saying, and according to the video that I saw, he was trying to help a mental, an autistic patient of his. His hands were up the entire time. He was shot by the cop in the leg unintentionally. The cop said, "I don't know why." When he said, "Why did you do it?" he said, "I don't know." There's a big hubbub about this shooting as well. If you guys know anything about it, comment away.
There's more to it. They just did a press conference a couple of hours ago, and it turns out the cop said he was not aiming for the guy on the ground. He was aiming for the autistic person because he looked like he had a gun.
But he said many times during the video I saw, he's got a truck. He's got a toy truck.
Right. The guy on the ground was saying he has a toy truck. The cop is saying that he shot, and his intentions were to hit the autistic guy holding what he saw as a gun. And he missed.
He hit the wrong person.
It was a 3-round burst, allegedly. And only one shot hit the guy that was on the ground in his leg. The other 2 shots, they have no idea where those went. But he said he was aiming for the autistic kid because he thought he had a gun.
And that's the call. That's the call that originally came in.
Cops in Miami are rocking burst weapons? Seriously? Is that common? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, our local PD has fully. I mean, so SWAT's got MP5s and
Yeah, but this was a guy on the beat, right? This wasn't like a.
No, this is a uniform cop in his car.
Yeah, I mean, there's a photo of him holding, at the scene with the rifle.
Oh, yeah, the guy's hands in the air, and he says, "Please don't shoot, please don't shoot." He says it a couple times.
Yeah.
He says,
and he even says the guy has a truck.
He says, "I'm working. He's one of my patients. I'm working with him." I think he says either I'm a social worker or I'm a
therapist. I think.
Yes. He says the word therapist. Which I hate the way that is written.
Yeah, the initial reports of the story
that he had a toy truck. Like he said, it's a truck.
Right, and you can see that it's a truck in the actual video. Now we may see it as a truck because we were listening to what the guy was saying on the ground.
Somebody told us that. Yeah.
Right, but the cops were responding to a call, a 911 call, that there was a gentleman walking around with a gun who was threatening to kill himself with said gun. Cops arrive. When they arrive, the therapist is already there trying to get this gentleman, this autistic gentleman, back because the autistic gentleman escaped from or left their facility. And that's when all hell breaks loose. He ends up shot. And I'm going to go on a quick tirade real quick. I've been saying this for a couple of weeks now, and I think I said in the last week's show about this whole comply, don't die bullshit that people keep talking about. It's nonsense. Comply, don't die? I mean, how much more compliant can you be? This motherfucker was laying on his back with his hands in the air, yelling out, telling them what he was, who he was, and that he did not have a gun, and he still ends up shot. So this comply, don't die, it didn't work for this guy. So how are we to say that that's the only way to deal with the police in these situations? They're police. They're supposed to protect and serve. Not to say that I need to comply or die is just nonsense to me.
You bring up a good point, Schwell. They're there to serve you. They're not there to shoot you. You know what I mean? I think this cop needs he really need not shoot the guy. I mean, from the video, he was being told exactly what was going on. It was a legitimate deal. It didn't look like he was a threat. But second guessing always kind of on the side. But certainly, the cop is not there to be a hired gun. He's there to mediate at best, right?
All right, and that brings up the question, one of the questions that hopefully will be answered down the line as the investigation unfolds. North Miami Police, they did bring in the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to come in and investigate it. They have an outside entity investigating this situation. But my question is, in these situations, once you have law enforcement respond, and there's a bunch of cars, a bunch of cops, and they're all around, and someone's talking to them. Who makes the call? Does the cop, any cop there, just make the decision? I'm going to pull the trigger now because this guy's holding a gun, or do they have to get authorization to pull the trigger in what looked like a hostage situation if you weren't paying attention to what was being told or said by the guy on the ground?
That's
Well,
shitty communication and shitty police work, if you ask me, based on what I
The
saw.
other thing too here is, obviously, the police officers approached the situation. The information they had was somebody has a gun. Now, in this situation, clearly the guy didn't have a gun. Wasn't threatened. I don't know. Maybe he could have been threatened to kill himself. But if that turns out to have not been true, I mean, shouldn't there be some repercussions on this person that called 911 with that story?
Yes. Casey, we're out of time.
All right.
So I just want to throw a thought out there real quick. With the climate around police officers today, what caliber of cop do you think is going into that service right now? With the overall opinion of police officers, do you think we're getting the best of the best, or do you think we're getting the bottom of the barrel, or do you think we're getting somewhere in between? Because the harder this climate gets for the police officers, the more incidents we seem to see.
I hope we get the best of the best for us. I hope we get the people that want to do this, that it's not the bottom of the barrel, because you got to hope, and that these agencies are screening for the best of the best.
To be honest with you, Eric, I always looked at the police department as something different than any other job that you would take in any other climate, in any other industry. And you know what? They're no different. And if garbage collectors had a bad name, you would see that the wages would go down and the people would be less quality oriented or less professional. I don't think the police departments are anymore. I don't think that that's a reason to condone anything. Don't get me wrong. I'm more focusing on the quality of individual that we're getting when nobody likes the police. Everybody wants a piece of the police. People are out there shooting police. Do you think that's gonna attract the best and the brightest? I don't.
We'll talk about that more next week, bro. We have to. We got to move on.
Real quick, I don't think you have kids sitting around in kindergarten classes anymore saying they want to be a cop.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
The stories they're hearing at their kitchen table, the things they might be hearing on TV or seeing, that is a definite different thing, Casey.
What we heard as kids is now a different narrative.
Guys, I know people who were sheriff's deputies who got the job because there was nothing else out there to do.
And that's the wrong reason.
Amen. And that's what happens. That's why shit like that happens. These guys got no business being out there.
I believe there's a groundswell of a couple different things going on in America right now, and I think one is a strong look at what the training is, what reforms might be appropriate. I'm hearing a lot more language like that. I'll wrap it up and let everybody throw in their 2 cents as we do at the end of every week. Real quick shout out to, once again, Green Force Tactical. If you need Kydex, if you need good stuff, go on over to TacDaddy.com. Check out Green Force Tactical. Check out Keybar. And make sure you check out EverydayCarryLife.com. The Brody box is almost ready, buddy. And we got confirmation that Liberty 13 is going to grab a couple shirts and add it to the box. That'll be the first one that goes out. So, Brody, it's on the way very, very soon, bud. I promise it's worth it. Anybody that wants to throw in a last-minute patch or anything like that, please get in touch with me, and we'll talk more about how we're going to continue that Brody box, and every couple months find somebody cool to give it to. Thanks, everybody, for showing up and joining us tonight. For all the great companies that support us and allow us to give away stuff like Nate Squared Tactical, I'm sorry, I kept saying Force. Green Force Tactical. Who else am I missing? I just said it. Keybar and Nate Squared Tactical. We want to be able to give out more stuff, and we're having more things happen, and that it's going to now allow that to happen. It's going to be simple. We're going to pull it from the subs for the Gun News Weekly YouTube channel. So whether you watch us on gun channels or whether you see this video somewhere, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because that way you're in the mix. You will be eligible. We're also giving away, courtesy of Lanzang Tactical, a barrel, a 308 stainless steel barrel, very soon. And stay tuned on that. Lastly is thank you to Frank and everybody that has supported us from day one. I really do appreciate it. We're going to show a quick snippet of the video that's going to drop either tomorrow or the next day to help support the guys, Fallen Brother at Lanzang Tactical. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Schwell, I appreciate you hanging in, buddy.
Thanks for having me, even though you
I
gave me
said your name.
bronchitis.
I said I didn't kiss you, and I just only said your name 3 times tonight.
Whoa!
Did you see that weird fake kiss that Trump did the other night? It was weird. We didn't do anything even close to that, just for the reference.
No air kiss?
No, there was no air kiss. Ross, I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thanks, man. Thanks to everybody in the chat. It was great chat tonight. Thanks for all the support, guys. We really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Casey, we'll see you next week, dude.
Green Force, holding up, rocking, love it.
Dude, it's quality, man. I do like them.
Yeah, very nice.
I'm going to be trying a new holster soon, but it's not Kydex. So we'll have we're going to have all kinds of different, again, the inside the waistband stuff. I do like the Nate Squared sometimes. I definitely like the Green Force stuff as well. Happy birthday, brother. We'll talk to you soon as well. Enjoy your night.
Thanks, man.
I can't believe
Yeah, happy birthday, Eric.
Thanks, guys.
Important to it. Appreciate it very much. And like I said, on the way out, we're going to share this 2-3 minute clip with you, and I hope you enjoy it. Please, if you do, please share it. It's an important message, and we want to get the message out. Have a great night, everybody.
It's a life-changing event. Regardless of your MLS, your branch of service, anything, it changes all of us. Sure. Some people more so than others. It's just not realistic to think that you can go and do that and come home and be the same person. The deal now is, and my personal goal in life, and you deal with me all the time, and you see that, like, this is real to me. I talk about this a lot, is what do we do to help that person that's home now struggle? What's the tool that we help give them so that they're able to integrate back into society? There's no going back to who we were. Right? No one wants to go back to who they were. We just want to find a way to be the person we are today, but be a productive member of society.
Assimilate back into what is now your reality.
That is right.
Yeah. It's tough stuff, man, and I'm glad to be a part of it in any way that we can. I became friends with these guys, and they're rock solid dudes, and they're putting out product that's fantastic, and now they have a cause. So if you get a chance, check out lanzangtactical.com. Make sure you check out Death Valley on Instagram and on YouTube, and drop in on Gun News Weekly every once in a while as well.
Absolutely. Just remember, 22 is too many. The fight is not over just because you come home. The fight continues every day. It doesn't make you less of a person to ask for help. It doesn't make you less of a person to mourn for the loss of someone. So don't be afraid to do those things.
Yep.
Reach out, touch someone. It's not about push-ups. It's not about liking a page on Facebook that fixes this problem. This problem is fixed by integration. Talk to someone. You know a veteran out there, go talk to them. They may talk to you about it, they may not. But you may be the one person that reaches out to that one person that keeps them from doing that final step. Big difference.
So, keep finding that.
But check out the colors. It's like, when you grab a standard AR, the top and the bottom is super loose. Yep. It doesn't happen. So this is an 18-inch DMR. Walter Lothar barrel, nicely trigger. Got the Vortex laser on there. This is what I've been shooting in DMR competitions, stuff like that. Goes good. Yeah, I can weight it nicely. Got that OSS brake on it.
Have a safe week, everybody. We'll see you next time.